we can't use our voices during this video. If you agree or you like what I'm saying, when I ask you a question or when I read you something, I'm going to ask you to give me a thumbs up. Why don't you give me a practice thumbs up? Okay. If you disagree with a question I say, or you disagree or don't like the book that I like, you can give me a thumbs down. And if you have a connection, something triggers your memory and it relates to something you know.
Or this.
Or this. Okay, either of those work. All right? So, I have a question for you. Are new things kind of scary sometimes? If you think so, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, you can give me a thumbs down. If you're in the middle, you can go right in the middle with your thumb.
So sometimes they're scary.
Thank you. Now sometimes they are scary, right? Even for adults, even for kids.
Or sometimes they're not.
But sometimes we have to try anyway, right? Sometimes we might be afraid that people won't like our ideas. Or sometimes we might worry that people think we're silly. Or sometimes we might even worry that it won't work the way we want it to, right? Give me a thumbs up if you agree. But that means we still have to try, right?
Right.
So I brought a couple books that are about two real people. Okay? They are trying new things. And they were scared. They worried, but they tried. Okay? The first one is called Lights, Camera, Alice. Right?
That's a girl.
It is a girl. Now Alice was a little girl who lived a long time ago in France. And she loved stories. She loved to read stories. She loved to tell stories. And she made up stories all the time. But one day when she was a little bit older, she went to see the first picture that moved. Now it was just a picture that had a little person hopping around. Okay? That's all. And she decided right then and there that she was going to tell her stories, but she was going to tell them with a moving picture. Now that had never been done before. No one had ever heard of such a thing. Some of you might have a connection. Okay?
I've got a book thing.
Connection, yeah. But that didn't mean she couldn't try, right? Now, some people did not like her idea at all. It was a big problem for Alice. And some people even thought that girls were not supposed to do important jobs like that. The boys were supposed to do important jobs like that. Now remember, this was a long time ago. But did that keep Alice from trying?
No.
Even if it was scary?
Yes.
Okay? Sometimes she had problems with what she was trying to do, and it wasn't always easy either, right? In fact, I'll show you a little bit of it. Thank you. Okay, making movies was exciting, but it wasn't easy. Actors could be troublesome. Remember, troublesome, they cause problems. They didn't always do what you want. See this little guy down here? He's throwing a temper tantrum. That's not always easy for making movies.
I can't see. I'm pretty sure he was making a tantrum for like a movie.
Curious passerbys got in the way, and scenes might not always go as Alice wanted. But then, who didn't love a good surprise? So did that stop her?
Imagination.
No. I'm going to skip ahead. Sometimes she had to do even more scary things to make her project work. For example, Alice would do anything to make her movies more exciting. She'd crawl into a tiger's cage. Of course! She asked her leading ladies, or the main girl actors, to leap off a bridge onto a moving train.
What?
or she tied up her leading man, then she sent in hungry rats to rescue him. Not necessarily a real rescue. By chewing through the ropes. But did it always work? I don't know. Did she try? Now, she sounds like a pretty interesting lady, right?
Yeah.
And she did some pretty scary, creative things, right?
Yeah. Let's read the book now.
Here's the trick. This is a book talk, so I don't get to read the whole book to you, but at the end I'm going to tell you where the book is so that you can find it, okay? Sometimes we're going to continue with the same thought, okay, about scary new things. Sometimes we have to do scary things like showing kindness to people that maybe aren't always nice to us, showing or searching for new things, sharing things that are important to us. Okay, this book is called the Biblioburro. Biblio means library or book, and burro is a donkey. Okay. Now, this book is about Luis, and he lives in South America, in a country called Colombia. Now that's way south of us, right? Way down there. Now when Luis lived, he didn't live in a very nice place. A lot of people around him were really mean, and sometimes it was very dangerous. But Luis had something that not a lot of people had. You see, Luis loved to read books, kind of like Alice loved to tell stories. But Luis decided one day that even though he loved to read all of his books, and he was careful to make sure he used all of them, he didn't feel like he was using them well enough. And he felt maybe that he should spread a little kindness to the people around him. So he asked himself, what could I do to share my books with other people? And then he had a great idea. He looked outside at his donkeys and he said, I could put all my library books on a donkey, and I could travel through the deep, dark jungle. Now close your eyes. Do you see a deep, dark jungle in your mind?
Yeah.
It's really green, and you can hear cheetahs. And you can see snakes slithering on the ground. And sometimes in that jungle, there were bad guys, or bandits, like they're called in this book. Now, so that sounds pretty scary, right? And it's something new that he's deciding to do, right? But he decided he had to try. He really wanted to share his books with other people. And even if it meant scary things might come up, he still was going to try. In fact, some scary things did come. When the sun burns high in the sky, Luis and the burros, or the donkeys, stop at a stream to drink the cool water. After they have their fill, Fatal balks. He doesn't want to go, okay? He stops and he won't cross the river. Or later, deep in the hills, the path is lonelier than ever. Bird songs are the only sounds they hear. Then from deep in the shadows, a bandit leaps out. Please let us pass, Luis says. The children are waiting. Bandit scowls at the books. He takes one and he growls, and then he
shares it?
I don't know. Now, scary things for both of these characters, right? Scary in creating new things that people didn't like. Scary things around him. Scary travels. Not nice people. Dangerous forests.
Aren't there the dangerous people on the tree high?
There are lots of things that are scary. raise your hand if you've done scary new things before. I know I have. But once I've done them, I feel a little bit better about them. And usually it's absolutely worth it.
Because I like when we
Okay,
like.
shh, connections. Thank you. Now at the end, we can talk about all of our scary things we've done. But give me a thumbs up if you have been to the public library in town.
Ooh,
Now some people have, okay? Now it might be kind of scary to go to a new place that you don't know, okay? You already know that Miss M in the library here has great books, and you know that Miss M is really nice and helpful. And you know that Mrs. Miller is really fun and has great books in her classroom, right?
Yeah.
So you might think, oh, I don't need to worry about going someplace else. I have everything I want here. But did you like these books?
Yeah.
Would you like to read those books?
Yeah.
Guess what? We don't have them in the library here yet.
What?
No, we're working on it. But I can tell you where they are. They're at the library in town.
Ooh.
So you may have to be a little bit scared, but you can try something new by going to the library down in town and getting a library card, because each one of you are allowed to get a library card. Did you know
I
that?
already have one.
Yeah, a lot of us have library cards.
I don't.
Some of us don't.
My
But
mom
that's
has a
okay.
library card.
That's okay. Right? We don't have to be scared, because at the library in town, it's a lot like our library here. There's a lot more books, and there's a special room just for kids' books and computer games and movies that you might want to check out. And most of all, at the library in town, there's still really kind, helpful people too. And you can check out exciting books like these without being worried or scared, right?
Yeah. We already know part of it.
You already know some of the stories, so now it's interesting. You have to find out. And you know that it's okay to go to the library in town with your mom or your dad or somebody your family trusts, right? Okay. So, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, okay? Are you interested in these books? Give me a thumbs up or down if you don't really think so. That's okay too. Did you like doing a book talk? Thumbs up or down, or in the middle if you were just so-so. That's fine too. Would you like something like this again? Group thumbs. I'm going to say thank you to each and every single one of you, because sometimes this assignment can be a little bit scary. Now, it's really fun for me, because I already know all of you, and I know a lot of people in the school. But sometimes it can be scary to actually sit down and do something new. I've never done a book talk before, but I decided it was going to be worth it, because first I get to talk to all of you and see you, and second, I get to share really cool books that I just found too, because I hadn't read these before, and I found these new ones when I was researching. So, give me an air five. Everyone know how to do air five?
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me come and visit and talk to you, and I really appreciate how helpful you were. And if you have a question, give me just a minute to turn the video off, and then we can talk about it, okay?
Is it on?